Welcome to the PAX Developing Environment. In this presentation, we show you how and why we developed the PDE. Afterwards, we show you a demonstration of what it looks like.
First, let's look at the use of XR learning applications in education. We have seen the last years that learning applications based on XR are increasingly spreading with the field of education. That's fine. The immersive character, the reduction of cost and risk, and the high motivation of learners are repeatedly mentioned as added value compared to the traditional media such as books, smartboards, or web-based training. On the other side, we see there is a lack in the didactic quality of XR learning media. For example, there are XR learning applications which ask for content factual knowledge by multiple choice questions without opening the room to interact in the XR learning world. Or professional work processes are assessed without adequately preparing the learners for them. This results in well-designed XR learning environments but less extensively evaluated learning processes.
To address this deficit in the development of XR learning applications, we have first examined the design process, and then it turned out that many XR developers lacked the didactic competence to design XR learning applications. And among those who had recognized this deficit, it turned out that collaborating with educators was difficult, especially because both parties don't share the same vocabulary. There are a lot of technical jargon terms for XR developers, but also for educators. This led to a minimum of high-quality XR learning applications. So we examined this shortcoming in detail with the PAX project, and we developed a solution which we call the PAX Developing Environment, or short PDE. To address this problem, we adopted a design-based research approach by testing the system broadly with pairs of educators and developers each. This was a very difficult process because both of them didn't talk the same language at first, so we also included a glossary in the final product. But we found out that the product has to fulfill both of the parties' needs. So at first we did a whole user research, and we found out that educators need a lot of customization options because it has to stay dynamic because every one of them teaches in a very different manner. They also need apps designed based on didactic principles, and they also have to be used with the curricular standards in their mind. Developers, however, they have completely different needs. They need cost and time efficient development, easy communication with their clients and clear expectations of both sides. And they also need fast access to client resources and assets. They also said they need as small as possible intrusion in their already existing dev workflows, which we hope to have solved with the PDE. So what does this all mean? This is going to be
shown by Sander.
Okay, so the PDE, it's been created to make the development process of XR application in education more structured, collaborative, and effective. And it's based on the following principle that we believe that developing a successful XR learning experience, it requires close cooperation between different types of expertise. So on one hand, you have the educators. They bring the didactic goals and the knowledge of the learning context, while on the other side, you have developers who can translate those specific ambitions into a functional and engaging XR application. And the PDE supports that type of collaboration by giving all these stakeholders a shared environment in which they can work together. And in its current form, the PDE is a fully functional web-based platform that supports those kinds of teams throughout the entire development process. And for example, users, they can create and manage multiple XR projects. Each project will have its own dashboard. And within these dashboards, teams are able to define goals. They are able to keep track of progress. They can save documents and also can keep track of important decisions and outcomes. And one of the main strengths of the PDE is that it's based on 4 fundamental steps, which correspond to the development structure. And each step is supported by dedicated templates, forms, and tools that both users can use. And information that's entered early in the process is automatically carried forward into the later stages. So this means we'll reduce duplicate work, and it also ensures to keep track of the educational objectives, and in order to remain connected to the technical choices throughout the project. And the platform supports clear communication between teams. So both educators and developers, they have role indicators. So they know exactly who's responsible for which part of the process. And they can also use examples, tooltips, linked glossaries, which will help to clarify both the technical but also the didactic terminology, which makes it easier for both educators and developers to work from the same kind of understanding. And because the PDE is fully online and responsive, it can be accessed from laptops, tablets, PCs without the need for any specific kind of hardware or software. Users will have personal accounts, projects and are being stored securely, and it also has export functionality, which makes it possible to generate documentation for reporting, collaboration, or archiving, for example. And now the current PDE will be tested in realistic development scenarios. Further refinement will still continue, but early feedback that we've received from both the educators and the developers shows a strong interest, which makes it clear that the PDE has full potential to support a more sustainable, but also a more effective integration of XR in education.